What's up, football fans? It's your boy Noname coming at y'all with a brand new series. I'm gonna call it the 2019 NFL Primer Series, which is basically just gonna be me ranking a couple of positions here and there. Maybe I'll talk about some teams, sleeper teams, who knows. But to start off the series, this is all my opinion. Obviously, I put some research into it. I'm gonna start off with a couple ranking videos on offense and defense. This very first one here is gonna be me telling y'all my personal top 5 NFL running backs based off of their last season and their body of work as a whole. But I'm gonna put most of the weight on their last season's performance and whatnot as we're heading into this new 2019 NFL season here. Now, bear in mind, this is my opinion, this is my list. I would like to know your thoughts and opinions on it. Leave it in the comment section below. Constructive criticism welcome. I like to have debates with y'all if you want to, have a debate and whatnot, but let's get right into it. This is my favorite position, running back. So, for number 5, the guy who I think is in that top 5, and a lot of people actually don't have him in the top 5, is Derrick Henry, running back of the Tennessee Titans. Henry sort of had a breakout year, I guess you could say, this past season. Mostly because it was his first 1,000-yard season. His stats read 1,059 yards rushing, 4.9 yards per attempt, 12 touchdowns on the ground, 99 yards receiving, 15 receptions, but 0 touchdowns receiving wide. But this was his breakout season. He had 1,000 yards, mostly because it was the first time the Titans really relied on him. In previous years, they've had other backs such as DeMarco Murray, if I'm not mistaken, and Dion Lewis and whatnot. He just really wasn't the focus of the running game. This is the first time I've ever seen them give him the load that he deserves, give him the rock, and just let him run with it, and it paid off. He had 215 rushing attempts this year, which is a big step up from his 176 in the previous season and 110 in 2016. Henry is a really underrated back because of his underutilization, but he's somebody that could really pack a punch. He's a power back, somebody that, like a monster that just runs through you, standing at 6'3", and he weighs 238 pounds. This guy, he just looks physically like a monstrous specimen, and that's his running style too. He has a really hard running style, loves to run through tackles, run through people. Best example of that would be his 99-yard touchdown run from last year, and that was really the best run of his career. It showcased all of his strength right there, both in he has an agile quickness to him that's very deceiving to the eye because of his size. I think that Derrick Henry is going to be stepping into this role a lot more now as the running back of his team, as being part of the face of that Tennessee Titans franchise. I think that seeing now the coaching staff in the front office and whatnot, seeing that what he can do when the rock is placed in his hands, I think they're going to give it to him a lot more. This number 5 spot was a bit hard for me to decide who to put here, but I told myself I wanted to put somebody in that nobody really expected, not really for the shock value, more so because I feel like the upside of Derrick Henry is he has tremendous upside. He has a high ceiling, and if things go right, meaning God forbid no injuries, and the Tennessee O-line stays relatively healthy and continues to be above average, then he's gonna have a great career ahead of him. So that's why I picked him here for the top 5 spot. Moving on to number 4, we got somebody else that's a bit underutilized, more so than underrated, but that's because he was sharing the rock. We have Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints sharing the rock with Mark Ingram the past 2 years, and since his rookie season, he's really stunned everybody. His previous stats over the 2018 season were 194 attempts for 883 yards. That's 4.6 yards per attempt, 14 touchdowns on the ground, 709 yards in the air off of 81 receptions, with 4 touchdowns through passing. Like I said, for his 2 years in the NFL now, he's been sharing the rock a lot with Mark Ingram. Obviously, with Ingram gone now, they did pick up Jarrett McKinnon, I believe, or some other running back from the Vikings. I don't really know who. Goes to show you what I think is going to happen is Kamara is just going to be the lead role now in the running game. Maybe they're going to dump it off to his backup a couple of times, but it's not going to be that 1-2 punch anymore. So that's why his stats are a bit low on the rushing side, but on the receiving side, this is where he packed the punch. This is really where he sort of shaped the running backs today a little bit. When he first came in, it was just a great surprise and a welcome one of that to see how good he was both running the ball and catching the ball. He's very strong for his size too. Standing at 5'10", 215, he runs really smoothly with a good finesse to him, but he could still pack a punch and run through you if need be. I think his strength would obviously be in the passing game, which is where the Saints have used him a lot, which is where Drew Brees has used him a lot. But Kamara is somebody that just has, once again, another back that has a lot of potential, a lot of upside, a lot of talent. He could be a bit more well-rounded, but he's worked out so far for the Saints that I don't see him going anywhere but up here on out. Number 3 on this list, we got somebody that before unfortunate news of him, used to be my number 1, Todd Gurley of the Los Angeles Rams. And now Todd Gurley has been in this top 5 running back conversation since his rookie year. He's really the one that started the trend of rookie running backs coming in and being one of the best in the league immediately. Sort of started that trend of running backs from college to the NFL as being one of the easiest transitions. They just keep their level of production up, improve, and stun everybody. Over the course of his career, he's only missed 1,000 yards rushing once, and that was in 2016, a down year for both him and his team, the Rams. Last season, he boasted 1,251 yards off of 256 attempts for 17 touchdowns, averaging 4.9 yards per carry, and in the passing game, 580 yards off of 59 receptions, boasting 4 touchdowns and a 9.8 average per catch. And this is after what a lot of people consider a down year, because in the first half of the season, or the first 10 games or so, it looked as though Todd Gurley was going to get to 2,000 yards rushing. That's how good he was rushing. That's how great the offensive line and the offensive scheme for the Rams were. This was, after all, the Super Bowl team. Their offensive scheme was one of the best in the league, and their line was performing on just another level. He was running through every single defense in the NFL. He was running through anybody that tried to tackle him, sidestepping, jukes, jumping, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to try and throw at this guy, he was getting through it for those first like 10 games or so. Unfortunately, the news I was talking about is that he did go through sort of an injury in the latter half of the season that the Rams vehemently denied all the way up until the Super Bowl. They continuously denied that no, Todd Gurley is fine, there's no injury. In the playoffs, he didn't show up because of that physical limitation, and then we found out it's arthritis in his knee or something like that. Wish him all the best, wish him the best with recovery, but that is a very serious condition for a running back. Nobody knows if he will come back the same. We could only hope and pray that he does come back the same, because he was really on top of the roll, on top of his game. Like I said, the averages he was putting up set a trajectory for 2,000 yards rushing alone, and then it just went downhill once the injury kicked in. We don't know how long it will take for him to recover, if he can recover, but based off of last season alone and looking at the future, he's definitely still top 5, but not number 1. That injury will hold him back. Moving on to number 2. Now things are gonna get spicy with anybody that's watching this, because it's almost a consensus. The top 3 really is almost a consensus among a lot of people that watch the NFL, that follow the NFL and whatnot. And then the top 2 is always just debated back and forth. But I'm gonna put the second best running back in the league right now as Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, not much has to be said about Zeke, because speaking quite honestly, he's the best runner of the football in the NFL, bar none. This guy, Zeke, is just straight up the best runner in the NFL. Not necessarily the best running back, but you give the ball to him on the ground and he'll give you production no matter what. He's like a power rushing dude. He uses his strength a lot more. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Marshawn Lynch from like 10 years ago. Marshawn Lynch, 2010, 2011 Marshawn Lynch. He reminds me a lot of that. He does what he does best, is just run the ball. He has improved a lot in his passing game, which is shown in his last season stats. Let me just read them out for you. 1,434 rushing yards off of 304 attempts. That's a 4.7 average, with 6 touchdowns on the ground, 77 receptions for 567 yards and 7.4 average with 3 touchdowns in the air. Everybody knows that Ezekiel Elliott is consistently leading the NFL in rushing. The only year he didn't do it was in 2017 where he was suspended, but he still got 983 yards rushing. He was suspended for 6 or 8 games, I think, and with recent controversial videos, I guess you should call them, being released with him, and now there's another case. Who knows if he might get suspended and whether it's going to be for the same amount of time or not. That was really why I had to put him down at number 2, because the best ability in football is availability. And if he's going to hurt his team by not being available for a certain amount of games, he's hurting himself, he's hurting the team, he's basically hurting everybody and not helping anybody right here. And so I had to knock him down a little bit. But this guy, I don't know what else to say other than he's the best runner in the NFL. He will take the ball and he will always... I don't think anybody can get more rushing yards than Ezekiel Elliott, because he has one of the best offensive lines in the Dallas Cowboy offensive line, and he has some of the best legs in the NFL. Now, the guy I have in number 1, maybe he can do it, but the offensive line situation is different. But Ezekiel Elliott, since his rookie year, always been one of the best running backs and always has been the best runner of the ball. That's what I got for you. And then at number 1, in case you haven't figured it out yet, both from what my channel primarily covers and if you follow the NFL, my number 1 running back in the NFL is Saquon Barkley. And yes, it is just off of his rookie year. Yes, there is some bias in there because he's from my favorite team, from my hometown and whatnot. But no, this is not all bias. Saquon Barkley is the most talented running back and the most well-rounded running back in the league. I said Zeke was the best runner. Saquon is the best running back. He can catch the ball, he can run the ball, he has power, he has finesse, he has speed and quickness. He's one of the fastest guys on the field, but also one of the quickest guys on the field. His ability to stop in place and then accelerate back up to top speed is something I haven't seen in a long time from any position in any sport. A lot of people compare him to Barry Sanders. He's had a lot of pressure on him since he came into the league. And off of the 1 year, for just that one rookie year, he lived up to it. He's in a club now of 2,000 scrimmage yards in the rookie year, shared by Edwin James and Eric Dickerson, 2 great NFL running backs, 2 Hall of Famers right there. And he's done it with a absolutely porous and terrible offensive line and a offensive scheme that for everybody else was brand new, and on a team that went 5-11. Which really, I'm telling you, take Saquon Barkley off the Giants, we probably go 3-13 again. Who knows? Let me just read off to you his stats. 261 rushing attempts for 1,370 yards, averaging 5 yards per attempt. I didn't even know that until I looked it up, guys. 5 yards per attempt. That's the highest one I listed off so far out of all 5 of my running backs. That's better than Zeke Elliott, who without a doubt had a better O-line, and better than Todd Gurley, who without a doubt, in my opinion, had the best O-line out of all these running backs from the past year. 11 touchdowns on the ground, 91 receptions, which is, once again, I think the most receptions from a running back like this past year. And that is both because of the offensive scheme and because of his just reliability, his strength, and his ability to take the ball from anywhere on the field and get it into the end zone. I firmly believe he's one of 5 players in the NFL that could do that. For 721 yards, averaging 7.9 yards per reception and 4 touchdowns. This guy Saquon, on and off the field, is a great role model. Strength, power, quickness, finesse, professionalism, smooth talker, nice guy. I mean, Saquon Barkley is the future of the NFL. A lot of people, including myself, say he's almost like he was genetically engineered to be a running back and whatnot. But there's just not enough that I can't say about him. 6 feet tall, 234 pounds. The power is there. The power is there, man. Everybody knows about his quads and whatnot. But yeah, that's what I got for you guys. That's what I got for my top 5 running backs. Running back down the list real quick: Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Saquon Barkley. Let me know what you all think. Let me know who would you like to be in this list. Who would you have liked to see above other people? Let me know if you would rank Zeke above Saquon. I don't have a problem with that at all. Just let's have a nice debate down in the comments. That's what I got for y'all today. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm out.